You can knit tubular pieces like hats, sleeves, socks, and sweater bodies using a technique called knitting in the round. This is an alternative to using 2 straight needles and having to sew seams. There are many ways to knit in the round. You can use 1 circular needle, 2 circular needles, the magic loop method, or 5 double-pointed needles. In this intro tutorial, we will use a circular needle with a length less than the circumference of the item you are knitting. For example, if your hat will be 18 inches around when finished, you would use a 16-inch long needle. The reason for this is that the stitches need to fit comfortably around the needle and meet at the tips without stretching. Using a needle that is too long can result in misshapen fabric. Note: we have already cast on our stitches and are ready to knit. If you need instruction on how to cast on, please check out our Casting On tutorial category. Before you knit your first stitch, ensure that there is no twist in the cast-on stitches. The cast-on edge should run along the bottom of the needle all the way around without looping over the cable. An unwanted twist would cause the cast-on edge to wrap all the way around the cable. This would cause your knitted piece of fabric to become somewhat of a figure 8. Twisting is a problem that cannot be corrected later. You would have to tear out all of your work and start over. Push the last of your cast-on stitches to the tip of the needle so that the working yarn is close to the tip. Hold this needle tip in your right hand. Pick up the other needle tip with your left hand. Place a marker on the right needle tip before you begin knitting. This allows you to keep track of the beginning of the round for counting purposes. Begin knitting by inserting the right needle tip into the first stitch on the left needle tip. Using the working yarn, knit the first stitch and pull tightly so that it comes together snugly with the stitches on the right needle tip. Take care not to knit with the cast-on tail. You always want to be knitting with the working yarn that comes from the skein or ball. Keep knitting until you have come back around to the marker. Every time you reach the marker, you have completed 1 round of knitting. Now you can just continue to knit and you will produce a tube of stockinette fabric without having to do a single purl stitch.